Well, hello there, everyone. This is A.T.I. Draws, and I'm Joshua Haddad. I'd like to welcome you guys back to another wonderful video. As you can see here, we're doing an anatomical study of the female body currently. And this will be broken up into multiple different parts where we go over structure of female body, male body, child body, and of elderly or any abnormal figure character. That's my goal. And then at the end of me breaking up week by week, we will have different drawings that will be done in anatomical and based off the anatomical studies we did, breaking it up and allowing it to be used in practice, basically. And that'll be after all the anatomical studies we do is have a drawing basically referencing it. So yeah, that's my plan. I'd like to thank you guys again for joining me for another wonderful day, another wonderful video, and I want to thank you guys just for being here one more time. Thank you guys for love and support for the last video, and thank you guys just for the opportunity for me to do this. Now, before we really do much of anything at the start, I would just like for us real quick to just replay the time lapse so you are able to see exactly what's going on with the time lapse. Now in the time lapse, you just see me drawing obviously the outline of the character. The reason why I was doing the silhouette is because you want your character to be known by a silhouette. If I'm drawing my character, for example, let's say Spiky or Tahira Neoma or any of these characters, if I'm drawing these characters and I draw them the best I can, but if you take out their silhouette and nobody knows who the character is, then there's kind of a problem. You want to be able to make sure that the shape of your character, the way your character is, their silhouette is very, very accurate and strong, so that when some people see it, they're like, okay, yeah, I know who that character is. I've been part of this channel for long enough. Like something like that. And now, excuse me for that. Then you see obviously the circles and the breaking down the proportions into simplified body shapes. That's self-explanatory, as breaking down into body shapes obviously allows the individual to be able to structurally understand what the anatomy of the character is. Now in here in Clip Studio, I took two references. Again, I do not own these references. I found them on the internet. So these are two references I saw off of Google and I took them in, and this is the two studies we'll be doing for the female anatomy. And I did bring up, as you can see here in the middle, there is the female anatomy. I did have to put a barrier over the chest, as I do not know if YouTube will allow, even if it's an anatomical figure, I do not know if YouTube will allow the sighting of a female's barren chest on YouTube. So I had to make minor adjustments there. Outside of that, I kind of just went back through and just make sure all the layers and everything correct. But let's first just break down exactly what I did. Again, silhouette wise, just trying to find a silhouette. With doing the structure here, I basically did a more detailed version of how I would normally draw, just making sure the circles line up with the head, the body's lined up as well, the hands, the neck, just the body of the character, everything's all proportionally lined up. With this one, I wanted to ensure that I got more details of the individual muscles and the rib cage, just to ensure that I got a bit more done up here. Over here, with I believe Makima cosplayer, I wanted to ensure that I had the structure down of the person instead, as structure is just as important as understanding the individual muscles. I want to understand how I should break up the joints and understand things. I also wanted to try a new pelvis design, which was a little messed up. Probably should have done it a bit over here instead. Regardless, I'll fix that when I'm doing actual drawing. But I wanted to ensure that I broke down the structure, so I was able to see the legs, able to see where the clothing is, able to see where the character is standing, how the character structure is built. I did not do the hands on this one. Quite interesting, but I did do the hands on this one. So breaking it up, I did want to make sure that one thing I did kind of want to keep was the line from the spine down. As I drew it here, there's just a line going down. I wanted to ensure that I understand the curvature of the spine and how the spine tends to go in a natural S-like shape. Due to this, I wanted to ensure that with the spine, everything was, well, linked up, because if I didn't, it would have been out of the ordinary. With the hands and joints here, I wanted to ensure that each individual knuckle, each individual joints here, and the bone and the fingers were all kind of together and visible. I tried to make it so that the box was just the overall palm shape of the hand, kind of the main point, and then you add additional adjustments like how I normally do my hands. Then I broke up the torso into a box, and then I drew the rib cage, is what I prefer to do when I'm actually drawing. And with this, then I drew the circles that represent the shoulders. Then I drew the hand next, and then I connected it through the different joints. I do that specifically for me, as drawing the hand after lining up my shoulders allows me to effectively make it more anatomically correct when drawing the actual arm, as oftentimes we would force the hand to be in an unnatural position by accident, or shrink the hand or make it bigger or whatnot. That was my issue with Spiky when I drew several months before. The original traditional drawing, not the digital one. But with the digital one, that was a big issue of mine, and I couldn't really correct it as well as I wanted to, because I didn't really want to take too much away from the traditional one, but it did feel like it was a struggle trying to get it more correct, as a lot of things were quite a bit different, and I would probably just redo a lot of these characters, except for Etheria. That one was relatively recent, but that's besides the point. Drawing the hand made it so that the arm could be drawn more accurate, and the hand position and size were more proportionally correct. Now I drew these gigantic circles inside the pelvis here, the torso, or regardless, so that I would, and you as a viewer would be able to see the simplification of like you starting the thigh. I draw two gigantic circles, as it sets the stage for me drawing from the pelvis outwards down from the thigh. There will usually be like a minor dip here, going from here and down, and regardless. But there, as you can see here, went down, out and about, wrapped around, and there was our character. I did the same for over here, drew the pelvis, I drew the two circles, and then I connected it to the thigh here, and I just finished out the outline. Drawing this made it more anatomically correct, and I thought that would probably be a bit more easier for us as a, well, individual. So now I guess we kind of just draw along, I guess. That's what we came here to do. Nothing too serious, nothing too bad. Just want to make sure that we understand each individual part of structure. So now going here, I'm going to delete this layer. I know I tried to create a layer, but I'll probably just go File, I go New, and I would just create a new illustration here. Now in this illustration, what I am planning on doing is using this slide from before. I'm breaking down some models. I'm just going to, without over a silhouette, just create a basic structure. As all my goal is right now for today is just to create a basic structure. Oh, and for this week's video, you guys will just be able to see me creating a basic structure. So starting right off the bat, as we can see here in the model, we have our lined up circle. Now in this lined up circle right here, as we can see, we want to get it to the point it is all lined up enough to structure the rest of the body. So going here, I then draw a nice balanced circle. Excuse me, that was really bad. Just trying to get a nice circle. It takes quite a bit for me, at least, to get a nice evened out circle here. Nothing serious. Okay, well that circle seems balanced enough for me to continue on here. Now, with this drawing now, we obviously see that there is that we could draw. Let's move back to it. Wow. Ignore that mild brain fart and the stutter going on. Let's just go back to what we already have. Man. That was crazy. Anyway, now we gotta pick where direction our head is facing. As you can see, our head is facing here, and on this area, our head is facing here. Now, in everything we understand about an anatomy is that regardless of where the character is facing, you want the character to have the structure. So I guess I'll just draw a line. I guess I'll wing it right there, and I'll let you guys just see whatever happens. And I'll just draw a line. Probably going from here down. Probably a bit too far down. I'm just going to trim a little bit off. There we go. Now it's going to connect from here. That's a bit too wide. And I like to flip my canvas. Now this is a very sharp jaw, but preferably we're just doing this for anatomical study, so I'm not going to be too picky now with this one. I'm just wanting to get this structure down, and we can always adjust the structure from there. Now next we got to understand how we're going to position the character. The character is obviously positioned here, so due to that I'm guessing I'm having an elevated perspective, so I'm going to draw a tiny box going from here. Whoa, that's a bit too much of a cut. Going, let's say a bit farther out. Nothing too serious. A bit farther out. And something coming up a bit like that. Then we just want the box coming down. It could be a bit farther out, honestly. It doesn't really matter too much to me. But now we got a little box here. Though isn't the best of boxes, it's a box. So let's just take it, and we have our line here. Go structure. I structurally like to go a bit more down, just so I get the line. And we take here and we draw the neck of the character. I'll prefer the neck to be a bit more thin though. Now, and on here we are, let's go with the anatomy study. So we see that we have the neck and everything already lined up. We already had the box for a torso. So instead of us wasting time and doing a whole bunch of unnecessary nonsense, let's just jump right to what we already have. We already have things, so let's just map out how the ribcage will look. Now for me, with the ribcage is kind of like, imagine taking from here, kind of like dragging over. I guess I'll probably just draw like little lines, try to make it as 3D as possible. It's not the best of rib cages, though I am kind of rushing myself. I usually like to take a really long time drawing. But I just wanted to make some structure. So as long as we're making some structure, that's fine by me. My apologies, I was just sitting there looking, making sure I had everything mapped up. Now that we have some things together, if we look at proportionally wise, depending on the angle, the pelvis is actually not that far off from the size of the actual. That was not a perspective. I'm going to draw a little line. Just help me out real quick. Just a little something. Those thin works enough to get the point across here. Then we have our gigantic ball that kind of wraps around as we have planned out here. I drew that wrong, didn't I? Again, guys, take a lot more time on your actual artwork. Again, I'm not the best with short amount of time, and as you can see, my hands are really breezing through this. I'm not really going at a comfortable speed, but regardless. So there we go. We're gonna make sure that all that is done and downlocked, and everything is it seems like it could connect to each other. At least it seems like to me everything can connect to each other. So from here, what I would do is from a very, very awkward perspective, I guess. I will just start connecting some things down. So now that we have like a general idea of things, and then now that we have like a general perspective of how we're planning on connecting things, we have that, we have the legs. We're going to draw the shoulders coming around from the side, protruding like how we did over. And even though this is rushed, it's not even that bad. I probably could just finish off with an illustration sometime. Let's just draw the hands kind of down. Wait, is that her right hand? Okay, yeah, her thumbs. Her thumbs there. Okay, make sure you take your time, guys, on doing these, because I like the hands are the part you have to take the longest time on. So unless you accurately take quality time on drawing hands, it will never turn out good. That's the reason why my hands are looking terrible right now. And just do the same thing to the other side. The other is extremely rushed, as you can see here. What we're basically doing is just finding the structure. If you're able to find the structure of the character, even if it looks rushed like here, obviously you can see the character structure is still there. And if I were to actually go back and like do something with this, it will actually be done correctly. I'm not rushing drawings again. I wanted to try something new for this video, but I'll be sure not to do this. I was just way off. I'm not drawing something that proportionally incorrect. Okay, well, so we have a bit here. Honestly, we don't need to do all that. I'm just going to draw a structure because I'm not going to draw another pair of bad hands, respectfully. So basically, this is, again, not the best, but it is what we're just trying to do. Just make out a perspective change. Now, of course, though this was a very dynamic pose, and I would normally probably at least spend at least 7 to 8 hours, at least just really trying to get this drawing down. At least just 3 hours, at least on this part alone. But that's just me as an artist. I really spend a lot of time inside the sculpting period, making sure I get everything down. And obviously this is really rushed for me. But again, us seeing this, we were able to just break out the structure and see how things work. Now, this is not bad for an anatomical study. All we really did this week was just break it down into structure. That's all we're trying to do, is just break it down to structure. Though it was pretty quick and really accurate, we just broke it down to structure. There was nothing too serious. Not trying to make anything far too crazy. Well, I guess that's what we kind of did. Anyway, so let's just go back to our original, and we just see in here, we just see how we broke it down to structure. And of course, you saw me how I kind of drew a very quick and horrible but accurate version of trying to use the same structure you learned and put it together. Now, of course, again, I will definitely try at some point to get a completed anatomical figure by the end of this whole anatomical study for guys. For females, guys, girls, well, yeah, no, females aren't girls, huh? Ignore that. But for females, for males, for kids, for elderly, and those who have abnormal figures. Then I'll go back through, have a refreshing period, and then we'll be doing a sketch representing each different anatomical study that I just did. Just basically clearing up week by week as we go along. And then after we complete everything here for quite a bit, then we will move on to perspective. Combining everything we learned from anatomy to perspective and try to do things. Then we could maybe hop back in animation or whatever, or maybe you would like to see me learn 3D. But that's besides the point now. I'd like to thank you guys again for watching this wonderful video. As you can see, 2 things I'd like you guys to take away. Don't ever rush yourself. It will always look bad if you do. 2, always spend a lot of quality time studying your anatomy, studying different things. I, of course, only really took 2 pictures. If you're references, if you're really looking for a good amount of anatomical studies, watch quite a bit of videos. Look at a lot of references and break a lot of them down. And then make sure that as you're breaking them down, you have individual drawings that you sculpt and put together. That will really help you. But take your time on those drawings, on those sketches, really. You're just trying to break down the structure of what your character will look like. And then after you feel like you get it down, just go and try and give it your best. Draw a full-blown character drawing to the best of your ability. Make sure everything is in, everything is down, and everything is together. Yeah, that's basically the goal. You want to ensure that your character, your structure, everything you have put in is all the way correct. And yeah, that's basically it for today's video. Thank you guys again for watching. Thank you guys again for being love and support, and thank you guys again just for everything you've done. This is my anatomy video for week 1. Thank you guys again. See you guys.